Hello, everyone. Welcome to Brand Boutique Elite. My name's Farhana Cannon. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast. Today, we have a very special guest, Dawna Campbell. We are going to be discussing how to become financially fit in the heart, mind, and soul. Dawna Campbell is a professional speaker, international healer, and best-selling author. She teaches, trains, and mentors heart-centered business owners how to align your inner balance to gain infinite prosperity. It really all about, as entrepreneurs, it's about us and how we create prosperity in our lives. And so what she works on is very important because we are our number one asset in our business. As a former financial advisor, Dawna's book, Financially Fit, is a number one best-selling Amazon international best-selling book. It brings together the world of money and the energy world of the soul's essence. Dawna shares her techniques that she's learned all around the world from yoga healers, Zen Buddhist monks, and a medicine woman while maintaining a private practice. This has earned Dawna the title of the Mind Whisperer for creating instantaneous results in areas of health, wealth, and relationships. Dawna has over 25 years of experience and has shared the stage with notables such as Lisa Nichols, Dr. Joe Vitale, Sharon Lechter, and Kevin Harrington. She's been featured on Roku TV, Yahoo Finance, Fox News, NBC, and the Los Angeles Tribune. Her personal heart-centered healing philosophy is to create a world that is a better place for everyone. And wouldn't that be great for everyone? From Big Fork, Montana, let's welcome Dawna Campbell. Thank you so much for being on here today.
And thank you for having me. It is a pleasure and an honor to be sharing. I'm so excited.
So tell us, you went from becoming for being a financial planner to then this whole kind of journey into more of a mindset and healing, and there are very different things, and I definitely know people that practice different modalities of living their life and are in the financial world, but generally I usually see them as very separate entities. So tell us about your journey and how you got here.
Well, I was a financial advisor and a managing principal for an investment firm, and I did that career for about 10 years. But what I traded for that was my own health. And the last couple of years, I wasn't able to digest food at all. So I went, of course, through our doctors, through Western medicine, and after 2 years, nobody could figure out what was wrong with me, although I had this incredible pain inside in my stomach area. So I turned to natural healing, holistic healing, and started to uncover what was wrong and learned that I couldn't digest food. And in Chinese medicine, not being able to digest food meant there was something in my outside life that I wasn't able to digest. Now, I was in a high stress, high pressure career. I was a mother of 2 small children. I just had my second child at that time. And what I wasn't able to digest was the context of the marriage that I was in. I thought I was happy, but really there was a lot of anger, and I was holding on to a lot of that anger of what was happening. And it broke down my entire body. And so my marriage ended. And after that, I moved to a spiritual living community because I've realized I was the common factor with everything that was in my life. And I wanted to understand what it was like, the healing journey, the energy, what took place. Why did these things happen? Because I was holding on to the anger. And so I moved to an ashram and started studying meditation, brainwave patterns, physics. And when I left, I became financially devastated myself after following all of the money rules because nobody was hiring in the financial services industry after the global recession. So I dedicated my life to healing and uncovering what these patterns were to understand the secrets so we can all start living an abundant and prosperous life.
I think it's so interesting that, you know, like Chinese medicine or ancient medicines talk about how the emotional traumas, the all of your emotions can manifest and create physical ailments in our body. And I think in this Western world, we're so used to being like, okay, this is a problem. Okay, let me put a Band-Aid on it and basically take this medication that is I'm going to be I'm going to need forever, and it's going to cause me all these other problems, rather than taking a look at, our thoughts and our stresses and how we can create lives we love and release those things. And so that's super cool that you kind of took control over that and you were like, all right, I'm going to go and handle this and, find a way for me to like look at what's going on with my body and work through that. So tell us about, what you created in your business. Like, so how do you heal people and what is it like to work with you? Like, what is your product like? Because of course everyone wants to have abundance and happiness and feel fantastic. So what are some of the common things that people come to you with that they need help with, and how do you help them?
So there's three main areas that people come for assistance, and it's when they want better health, increased wealth, or an enhanced relationship. So whether or not they have a physical condition, maybe it's they want more financial support in their life, or they're looking for that soulmate relationship. What happens then is when they come, we uncover what it is that they want to have. And then we start exploring what it feels like not to have it. And then I find the pain point in the body. So I had a client come up to me once and say, I wanted to create more income. I want to have a little bit more. And when I asked him how he felt about not having a little bit more, he said, I'm so frustrated. And I uncovered why he wanted to have more income. And his why was he had two boys that were getting ready to graduate from high school and they were going to go off to college. They were fine and comfortable as a family, but they wanted a little bit extra money to go do some things before they went off. So he was frustrated not being able to create the more because he had been at this a couple of years and nothing works. So when I found the pain point in the body, he was holding it all in his gut area. And he said it was all knotted up inside. And when we went back to the time that he felt that energy there, he was 9 and his parents got divorced. And it was through that process, the more they had with the families got divided up. Now, each family was comfortable, but the more wasn't there. And he was put in the center and the parents played tug of war with him. When we uncovered what it was that he needed at that time, he needed to feel a sense of pride and proud of his own accomplishments to have the respect of his boys. And when we put that frequency in through a shared energy field, asking for that healing, and we were able to pivot and shift that feeling in the moment, the frustration left. And when we revisited that feeling or that situation at 9, he was happy and riding his bicycle down the street. And it looked like he released 20 pounds in his stomach area because he wasn't holding on to that energy anymore. So that released off of him. Now his boys are graduating from college. He created the more, the extra, and they got to go do those things. So his life improved that way financially just by that one shift and that one technique that I call pivot and shift that I learned from a medicine woman.
Nice. And so, you were speaking at an event and you did that with him.
Mm-hmm.
Can you work with people all around the world? And how does that work? Do you do Zoom healings? And, what do people need to prepare themselves? Or, how does the process work?
Mm-hmm. So for me, I have an international client base and I've had an international practice for 11 years. So long before Zoom, we were doing this, but we would just connect on the phone. Now, of course, with Zoom, we can do it through Zoom, but I still prefer just using the phone because most of the time I'm just sitting here with my eyes closed doing what I do. So it's not very entertaining for the other person to watch. But a client doesn't have to prepare anything. You just show up, you just be open, be honest with your answers, and it's always the very first thought that comes. So there's no overthinking because it's that first thought is the subconscious answer, and that's what I want. So it may not seem like it's related to you or it's connected, but as a mind whisperer, I find the mind map that's going on to see how everything is interconnected and put the mapping of it together. So when we make the change at the center point, it changes everything in all areas of your life.
Cool. What are some of the common things that people come to you and they're like, okay, you know, maybe they come and they're like, okay, this is some things that I'm dealing with and I want to not deal with them. Like, what are some of those common things? And when they come to you with something, do you tend to find that there is this underlining other thing that it is?
Mhm. So when people come in the area of health, it can be anything with health. It could be that I'm not able, like me, able to digest food, or maybe it's like irritable bowel syndrome. I have a lot of people who come and ask, can you help me with cancer? Yes. Diabetes? Yes. Because anytime you make a vibrational change in the body, the physical level disease has to leave because it's in a different resonance. And so it's about bringing that body into balance. Emotionally, releasing trauma and abuse is another one that people come forward with. Relationships, whether it's about making your existing relationship better, like through a marriage or through a partnership that you have, or you're looking for one, that's another commonality. And then, of course, I work a lot with heart-centered business owners who want to realign that balance so they can move forward in their business and reach the next set of income that they want so that they can help and, provide for other people in those ways. So in any possible situation that you can think of, this process works. I haven't found a situation yet in 11 years where it didn't.
What if somebody's just like really stressed out and they just kind of wake up and feel down? They might not have like a physical ailment and
Mhm.
they might be, just fine with their relationships and just fine with those other things. And,
Mhm.
I don't like just fine. And I feel like, we want to be happy and great.
Mhm.
But, they could just be baseline fine. Do you work with people like that? And what have you found when working with people that are just fine?
If they're just fine, but yet they feel a little bit down, that tells me they're not just fine. And so I'm going to explore the why do you feel, we put a label to it. We identify what the feeling is. So is it depression or is it sadness or is it just complacency or am I just stuck and I don't know how to move forward? So we explore what that feels like because that tells me where the energy block is and what it is. And most oftentimes I can figure out where it's at in the body, but I still have the client tell me where it is. And then we explore when it first started. And then that's where some of the initial energy got coded. Because your subconscious records everything from the moment you're conceived to the day that you leave this earth. It records everything that you do moment by moment as an event. And then it records what you feel and the emotion moment by moment, and it assigns it to that event. So this happens, and 90% of the time, you don't know the emotion or feeling that got associated with the event. We're only consciously aware of this about 10% of the time. And that was if you met where Albert Einstein, because the scientists measured his brain. And so 90% of the time, we're not aware that we're doing this. And then pretty soon we're at point A, then we make it to point B, and we're like, how did we get to point B? How did I get here? I'm feeling okay, but I'm just kind of down, or I don't know what's going on and I can't seem to move forward. And so we explore through the brain, through all of those connections, through that mind map of when it thought originated, and we make the change.
Cool. And so you do, the healing or whatever, but how does the person receiving, how do they get or receive the change, and how do they put that into like practice, or
Mhm.
continue on with letting go of that thing? Like,
Mhm.
how does that work?
Well, here's the beauty of it. Physics says there's no time or space. And because we are vibrational beings, I share in an energy space and field with another person. So anytime people come together, a third energy space is always created because we're sharing in that energy field. It's like when you're walking down the hallway in your office and you're going to the sales meeting, and you know if it's going to be a good sales meeting or a not so good sales meeting, you feel the energy before. So we're in the shared energy field, and I can feel that energy. And because we're sharing it, and I ask you, I have to have your conscious permission, would you like the gift that we just uncovered without having to go through the hardship? And the moment that you say yes, the frequency, the energy, the vibration of the new thing comes in. It's instantly created in the brain, in the chemicals, in the synapses right between the two neurons, and it runs through the body within a matter of seconds. So if you were to rub an onion on the bottom of your foot, you would taste it in your mouth within 2 or 3 seconds. So when a new feeling comes in, it happens instantaneously. Now what we're doing is we're reprogramming the feeling emotion in the subconscious. It happens instantly. So what do you have to do moving forward? Almost absolutely nothing except live life, because the subconscious, that 90%, is stronger than the 10% that you consciously know. So when a change like that takes place, you just keep moving forward and doing what you are doing. And then all at once, what you did started working where it may not have worked before, because you attracted it differently because you're in a different frequency.
Well, I think that that's so important. And the energy, when you said like if you're going into like a good meeting, you can feel that energy. I
Yep.
feel like I've always been very intuitive. Like, I can feel people. I can feel if they're like, positive, negative, if they're going to like put me in harm's way. Like, I've always been able to feel that. And then, there's a stage in life where it's like, growing up in the US, like, that stuff isn't really as valued, or it's like, oh, like, what are you, a witch? Like, believe in that, and, whatever it is. And so there was like a part that I kind of was like, all right, let me just, do
Mhm.
what is logically expected of me and things like that. And then when I stopped listening to like that feeling in my gut, I would
Mhm.
do something and then it didn't work out, and I'm like, "Oh, I wish I listened to that feeling, even though this was like the logical thing and this is what people told me to do." I felt like there's something not right with that. And so now I'm always just like, "All right, like, what do I feel? Like, how does that make me feel? Like,
Mhm.
am I drawn to that?" Like, and letting things kind of flow in that too, like, okay, is this the right moment, is this the right time, and listening to how like my body feels, because I think too, there I put stress on myself when
Mhm.
I didn't listen to myself or things didn't work out. And so I love that, you really help people look, or you find inside of them and clear things up, and that manifests into like their physical, as well as emotional level. And then
Mhm.
how is kind of that component of holding on to those traumas, how does that affect people financially?
Oh, wow. Here's how it works. Give you a little bit of a secret here, and why I put together the book Financially Fit. What I uncovered over the last couple of years was when I was working with clients, they would say things like, I'm not worthy, or I want to feel worthy. I wasn't valued. I wasn't appreciated. And what I was looking at and realizing was in the financial planning world, those key words were exactly the same that we used in the financial services. It's exactly how we described our money supply. And if here is your net worth, your portfolio value is, do you have enough money to fund XYZ goal? And if you didn't feel like you were enough on the inside, you never had enough to fund your goal. And if you didn't have enough money to fund your goal, you probably didn't feel enough on the inside. Same thing with net worth, feeling worthy, appreciation. And what it happens is we live in a vibrational universe. So the universe is reading your energy frequency, which is your emotion or feeling, and returning that to you 100% of the time. It doesn't matter if it's in the category of money and finance, or if it's health, or if it's a relationship. It's just returning how you feel in the moment 100% of the time. And what was happening with clients was when we started changing the I am worthy, I am enough, so they really felt it on a deep emotional level, every single time their money supply increased. And I watched this for 2 years and went, I have to write Financially Fit, because it's everything underneath belief systems around money, finances, and wealth that we can shift and change so everyone can live the secrets to an abundant and prosperous life.
Yeah, I love the way you explained that. I feel like that you clearly stated it and it makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
The $1 Million Mindset, T.
Yes.
Harv Eker.
Mm-hmm.
So that whole book is about like your relationship with money. He doesn't explain it as well as that little soundbite that you gave us, I feel like, but it's, how you think about money. There's people that are like, oh, money is evil and it's so terrible. And it's like, all right, well, you're never going to have it because your relationship with it is that it's a bad thing.
Correct.
Whereas, there are people that are into greed and there is things that people that are evil tendencies that are generated around that. But somebody could want to make a lot of money and help a lot of people. You could, be like, okay, I'm doing a service and I'm contributing to the world and I'm getting paid for my service because I need money to eat and live and take care of my family. And then also, you can use that money to help more people, give charity, feed people, house people. There's, so it's like it could be a positive thing and that energy receiving, or that negative thing. And I like what you said earlier about that there's instances, there's traumas, there's beliefs or things that happen to our subconscious. So I have done landmark education, since I was a child. And one of the components that they go into is that there was a point in life that happened when you were a young child. And the way that you view life, whether it be positive or negative, comes from that child's viewpoint as a protection mechanism. And you've created this thing. And so that's super valid. But then you're saying that there's these other moments. And and this correlation with money, my moment when I was a child was my parents were in the military and they had to go to trainings and, go to work, and they had to leave, and I got left with my grandparents. And I didn't see it as a child like they have a job and they have to go do this and they signed a contract with the government and they have to do it. As a child, you don't think that. You just think, oh, they left me. And even though I love my grandparents, they treated me like a little princess, and like I'm super close to them and I love them so much. My thing was that like I'm not lovable and I don't matter because my parents basically just went to work, but they left. And so my mindset in my early 20s to money was like, oh, it doesn't matter. I would spend so much money on anything. I'm like, oh, let's go out to eat here. Let's do this, whatever. I'll make some money, I'll work, and then I'll spend it all. Like, it wasn't like, oh, it mattered and I need to save it and I need to do things with it. It was just very much like whatever. And I didn't have a love for it because it was like, whatever. Like, I
Mhm.
didn't respect like the time that I worked for. It was like I could work 12 hours that day and spend that money like that night and be fine with it and not think anything else of it.
Yes. And when you shift and change and knowing that you are lovable, that you were enough, and now you have a different understanding, of course, being older, why you were left, and all of that. Yes, money has a different role in your life now because we view it differently. And a lot of our beliefs around money and how we feel about it come exactly from the childhood and from the different events where you don't think it's associated, but your subconscious put it together and made an association. And logically, it doesn't make sense, but emotionally, subconsciously, there's a connection. And it's about rewiring that connection so you have the result that you want.
Yeah, for sure. What are some of the tips that you give to people on, when they come to you and there's stuff that they're dealing with? What are some of
Mhm.
the tips that, our audience can start implementing right now?
Mhm. One of the things that I do have clients do from time to time is use this breathing technique that I learned from a yogic healer. Every time we breathe in oxygen. So we're breathing in all of the really good things that our body needs. And when we breathe out carbon dioxide, which breathes out all the toxins our body doesn't need. And when you feel that you have stress, worry, pressure, to help shift you in that moment, stop yourself. Take a 2-minute break, set a timer on your phone, and just close your eyes and breathe in. And when you breathe in the oxygen, think of the positive, good word that you want to create. So it might be kindness or generosity or peace. So you breathe in and you breathe in the peace. And of course, we're going to breathe out what we don't want, which is stress and worry. So when you let go of the breath, stress and worry leaves, and you just close your eyes, breathe in peace, breathe out stress and worry. And after doing this for about 2 minutes or so, it will start changing the physiological part of the body. You're going to feel more clearer. You'll regain your energy back, and you will be able to move forward with whatever project you are working on in a clearer state of mind because you released the energy resistance of stress and worry out of the body. So that's something that you can do in the moment when you catch yourself. And it's what I do that every day myself anyway, just because I like that meditation. And then pretty soon you're just breathing and you're in this suspended space and everything just becomes possible at your fingertips. So that's one.
I've been doing that lately. And, as an entrepreneur, and many of our listeners are running businesses and, some are managing families and, all of the things. And for me, I'm managing multiple different clients in different industries and my team and, in life. And so I was allowing myself to get really stressed out. And I like to be like happy, positive vibes, like free spirited. And I was allowing myself to get so super stressed about like all of the things. And, work is going to be there. It's always going to be there. And there's always going to be the things. And I can, let myself be stressed and overwhelmed, or I can just release that. And so that exercise, I've been doing that, and I say, okay, ease and grace, happiness,
Yep.
because I'm gonna do it anyways. Might as well, instead of having the story, I'm stressed, I'm gonna do it, or like ease and grace, we're gonna do it.
Yes, absolutely. And when you invite in those positive energies, then what happens is you're in a higher vibration. So then when the higher energy level goes up, you attract more good things to you. One other little quick tip that I do for myself every day, and I've done this for the last week, is in the morning when I wake up, I think this is the luckiest day ever. And it started on March 30th for me when I found out I was talking with a friend in Japan, and she said, March 31st is the luckiest day. So today is the luckiest day ever, vibrationally, number wise. And I went, that's a good thought to have. So the next morning I got up, it's March 31st. It's the luckiest day, and only good things will happen. And every day since then, it's the luckiest day ever. And I celebrate something during the day because it's the luckiest day, which helps create that energy to attract on that conscious level.
I love that. I do. I'm happy, and today's going to be an awesome day.
Yes, every day. And every day is better than the last day, but it helps keep you present and grounded in the moment too.
Yeah. And I just want to let our listeners know that there's days that I wake up and I am like, I have a migraine and I am kind of like feeling down, but I'm like, nope, all right, like I can stay in that, and then I'm like less productive in my work. Like, and even like what you're saying, that energy, like having that higher frequency energy and attracting that. But I think too, like your physical energy, when you are like, I'm gonna have a happy day and it's gonna be awesome, you feel energetic. Whereas you're like, if you sat in, when I sit and I'm feeling crummy, I'm down, blah blah blah, and then my energy level is lower and I'm less productive in the day. But when I'm like, oh, this day is gonna be awesome, and I'm so happy, and whatever, then it's like I'm so productive.
Absolutely. And that's how it works. That's exactly how it works.
So I have your book on my bedstand, and I can't wait to finish it. And I'm definitely going to tell you all about it, on our weekly calls. And then I would love for you to share about your courses.
Yes, I have 2 courses. One is the Financially Fit program, which is a 6-week course showing you some of the techniques, putting this together. You get a couple of sessions with me to either coach or mentor you or work on you as a healer. And at the end, you are creating and designing your own personal financial affluence story. And then the other program that I put together is called Abundant Money. And this is just a shorter, smaller course for the ones that just need to come in and start quickly generating and creating income for themselves, quickly change some mindsets, learn a little bit about the process, but really you want to be on the fast track and move. So there's 2 different courses there, and I'm in the process of designing a healing retreat around business and increasing revenue for business. And I'm going to be holding those down in Belize every quarter.
Nice. That's awesome. I love retreats. I love retreats that incorporate like healing and mindset and also the business side of it. So I'm excited to learn more when that is all set up and ready to go. I have a quirky question that I ask all of my guests.
Okay.
If you could be a superhero, what would your 2 superpowers be?
Oh my goodness, 2 superpowers. One would be invisibility, because then you could go around without being detected and spread happiness and joy in different areas. And people go, "Ooh, no, I just got a burst of good, fun feeling energy." The second thing would be instant physical creation, which would be, red ball, and have a red ball on your hands in the moment that you think that. Because if you have that ability, then you can instantly create in the physical world an actual object. And I just think of all the people that you can help doing that. If someone needs a home or someone needs a car or something, it would be great to have that quality to be able to do that and to give it to others.
That's cool. So basically, I dream a genie.
Yeah. Just wait for magic wand, it's yours.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's really fun. I like that. So mine are to be able to fly and to like really fast though. So not like when you're up in the air and you're cold, but like really fast flying. And also to be able to speak every language in the world so I could communicate with everyone.
Wow. Those are pretty cool. But we all, I think, speak the universal language of love. So there you already have the foundation to do that.
So how do people get into contact with you? What is your website?
The best way to get in touch with me is through DawnaCampbell.com. And from there, there's a contact form. You can schedule sessions. You'll find the programs on there. And I do respond. And if you want, you can also find me in social media, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. I do respond to all my own personal messages, so you can message me there.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on. I love the work that you do and that you help people get through whatever they're going through and help them create positivity and this new found whatever they're in seek of. And so I totally love what you do. I love your presence, and I'm so excited that I could have you on for you to share this with my audience.
Well, thank you. And I loved being here. This has been phenomenal. And I love all the gifts that you get to bring to the world. So it's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Be sure to connect with Dawna Campbell, and you can go to DawnaCampbell.com or find her on social media, and also subscribe to Brand Boutique on whatever podcast choice you are listening on. Thanks. Bye.